The desperate summons. The command deck of the Galactic Federation flagship Eternal Light pulsed with anxious energy. Admiral Zinfar, his six-limbed frame rigid with tension, stared at the holographic display. Dozens of stars winked out in real time, consumed by the advancing darkness. The senior officers, representing 17 different species from across the Federation, watched in silence as another system disappeared. Status report. Zinfar commanded, his translucent skin flashing warning colors despite his outward calm. Science Director Mira Len stepped forward, her feathered crest flat against her skull in distress. The scourge has accelerated again, Admiral. It's consumed the Vega cluster and is advancing toward the Orion arm. At current speed, it will reach the Federation core worlds in 14 standard cycles. Evacuation progress. 30% complete, but we cannot evacuate everyone in time, replied Operations Commander Breck, his metallic exoskeleton clicking nervously. We're looking at casualties in the billions. Zinfar's inner eyelids closed briefly. 6 months ago, the Federation had detected an anomaly at the edge of the galaxy, what they now called the Scourge. It wasn't a natural phenomenon. It moved with purpose, consuming everything in its path. Stars, planets, even the fabric of space itself. Their most advanced weapons had barely slowed it down. Our options? Zinfar asked, though he already knew the answer. Fleet Commander Oryx shifted uncomfortably. All conventional options have failed, Admiral. The Council is considering surrender negotiations, though we don't know if the Scourge can be communicated with. Zinfar turned away from the display. There is one option we haven't considered. The command deck fell silent. Miralen's crest rose slightly. You can't mean. Vault 0, Zinfar said quietly. The reaction was immediate. Voices raised in protest, appendages gesturing in alarm. Security Chief Thrix slammed a clawed hand on the console. Those creatures are locked away for a reason, Admiral. The Federation Charter explicitly forbids. The Charter won't matter if there's no Federation left. Zinfar interrupted. Prepare my shuttle. I'm going to Vault 0. The facility was embedded within an unmarked asteroid at the edge of Federation space. No navigational charts showed its location. Only 5 living beings knew it existed. Zinfar stood before the massive door, feeling the weight of his decision. He placed his primary hand on the scanner. Authorization. Zinfar, Grand Admiral of the Federation Fleet. Emergency Protocol Omega-7. The door slid open with a hiss of ancient mechanisms. Cool air rushed out, carrying the scent of hibernation chemicals. Zinfar stepped inside, followed by Mira Len, who had insisted on accompanying him. I still believe this is a mistake, she whispered. The corridor stretched before them, lined with 3 stasis pods. Each pod contained a being from what the Federation had classified as a deathworld, a planet so hostile that its inhabitants had evolved extraordinary capabilities for survival, capabilities that had once nearly torn the galaxy apart. Zinfar approached the first pod. The being inside appeared deceptively ordinary, a bipedal female with dark skin and close-cropped hair. According to her file, Commander Elena Reyes had led Earth's defense forces during the brief but devastating Earth Federation War 3 centuries ago. Before the ceasefire, her tactics had destroyed 17 Federation battlecruisers. Wake her, Zinfar ordered. Mira Len reluctantly activated the release sequence. The pod's cover slid back, and the suspension fluid drained away. The human's eyes opened immediately, dark, alert, and calculating. No disorientation, no confusion. Just instant awareness. Commander Rice sat up, her gaze flicking between Zinfar and Mira Len, assessing them with predatory intensity. Federation uniforms, she said, her voice clear despite centuries of disuse. Either you're executing me, or something worse than humans is threatening your precious peace. The latter, Zinfar admitted. Something called the Scourge is consuming entire systems. Our weapons cannot stop it. Ray stepped out of the pod, moving with fluid grace that belied her long stasis. And you think I can? Not alone. Zinfar moved to the second pod. Inside was another human, a male with pale skin and a network of scars across his visible flesh. Marcus Way, survival specialist. Before his capture, he had evaded Federation forces for 2 years on an uninhabitable moon, killing anything that came after him. The third pod contained Dr. Lena Novak, a weapons scientist whose innovations had given Earth's forces their lethal edge. "Wake them," Rise said, not a request but a command. Minutes later, all 3 humans stood before Zinfar, their expressions guarded but curious. 3 Deathworlders against a galaxy-eating force. Way laughed harshly. "You must be desperate." "We are," Zinfar admitted. "Show us what we're up against," Dr. Novak said, her voice calm but intense. Zinfar activated a holographic projector. The image showed the Scourge's advance, a wave of nothingness consuming everything in its path. "It appeared 6 months ago," he explained. "At first, we thought it was a natural phenomenon, perhaps a unique form of dark matter. But its movements are too deliberate, too strategic. It targets populated systems first. Intelligent," Rise observed, "or controlled by intelligence." "We believe so, yes." "Have you tried communicating with it?" Novak asked. "Every known method. It doesn't respond." Way circled the hologram, studying it from all angles. "This isn't natural. Something this perfectly destructive is engineered. Our analysis suggests the same." Rise crossed her arms. "Why us? Surely in 300 years, you've developed better soldiers, better weapons." Zinfar's skin rippled with reluctant admission. "The Federation evolved beyond warfare. We became diplomats, scientists, healers. Our species focused on cooperation. You got soft," Way translated. "Practical," Miralyn countered. "Until now." "And after?" Rise demanded. "If we help you, if we somehow defeat this thing, what then? Back to stasis, or execution this time?" Zinfar removed his command insignia and placed it on a nearby console. "If you help us, if you save what remains of the Federation, you and your world will be granted full amnesty and membership. My word as Grand Admiral." The 3 humans exchanged looks, a silent communication passing between them. "We'll need a ship," Rise said. "Something fast, with weapons." "You'll have it," Zinfar promised. "And full access to your technology," Novak added. "No restrictions." "Granted." "What about Earth?" Way asked, his voice suddenly tight with emotion. "Is our planet still there? Our people?" Zinfar hesitated. "Earth remains under quarantine. Your people survive, but they are closely monitored and restricted to your solar system." "Then we have one more condition," Rise said firmly. "When this is over, if we succeed, Earth's quarantine ends. Completely. Our people join the Federation as equals, not prisoners." It was a demand that would append 3 centuries of Federation policy. The Council would be furious, but faced with extinction, what choice did they have? "Agreed," Zinfar said. The Federation battle station horizon hung in space like an artificial moon, its surface bristling with weapon emplacements and sensor arrays. Originally designed as the Federation's final line of defense, it now served as the last hope against the approaching Scourge. Commander Rise stood on the observation deck, watching as the darkness crept closer. Even at this distance, the sight disturbed her. Stars simply vanished where the Scourge touched them, leaving behind an absence more profound than mere blackness. "Impressive technology," Novak commented, examining the station's specifications on a datapad. "They've advanced significantly since our time. Their energy production alone is remarkable. But they've forgotten how to fight," Way added, his eyes never leaving the approaching darkness. "Their weapons are powerful but predictable. No imagination." The door slid open, and Admiral Zinfar entered, accompanied by his senior staff. The Federation officers maintained a careful distance from the humans, their body language betraying their unease. The Scourge has accelerated again, Zinfar reported. We have less than 7 days before it reaches this position. Science Director Mira Len manipulated a control panel, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed detailed scans of the Scourge's edge. We've detected unusual energy signatures within the anomaly, she explained, her feathers ruffling with excitement. They appear to be structures of some kind, possibly ships or installations. Reyes moved closer to the display. Can you target these structures? Not from outside, Miralyn replied. Our weapons dissipate before reaching them. It's as if the Scourge absorbs energy itself. Then we go inside, Wei said, his scared face set with determination. The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications of his words. Nothing survives inside the Scourge, Fleet Commander Oryx objected. We've sent probes, drones, even shielded ships. Nothing returns, not even signals. Nothing from your worlds, Rice corrected. But we're Deathworlders. Survival is what we do. Zinfar clicked his mandibles anxiously. We have a prototype scout vessel in the hangar bay. It was designed for extreme conditions, though nothing like the Scourge. Show us, Novik commanded, already moving toward the door. The ship was sleek and deadly-looking, its hull made of some dark material that seemed to absorb light. According to Mira Lin, it was called the Phantom, designed for stealth reconnaissance in hostile territory. It has the most advanced shielding we've developed, the science director explained as they walked around the vessel, and an experimental drive system that can create micro-jumps through space, useful for evasive maneuvers. Weapons? We demanded, running a hand along the hull. Limited, Zinfar admitted. It was designed for stealth, not combat. Novak was already examining the ship's schematics on her datapad. I can work with this, but I'll need full access to your weapons technology. All of it, including the classified projects. Zinfar hesitated, then nodded. You'll have it. Over the next 5 days, the 3 humans worked with Federation engineers to prepare the Phantom for its mission. Rise focused on navigation systems, calculating approach vectors that might minimize exposure to the Scourge's effects. Wei installed additional survival equipment, cannibalizing parts from the station's emergency systems. Novak spent hours in the ship's engine room, making modifications that even the Federation's best engineers couldn't understand. As the work neared completion, Admiral Zinfar called them together for a final briefing. The Scourge will reach this station in less than 24 hours, he said, his voice grave. We've evacuated all non-essential personnel. The rest of us will hold position as long as possible to support your mission. A noble sacrifice, Wei said with surprising respect. Zinfar's compound eyes fixed on the human. Not a sacrifice, a duty. As is yours. Rais studied the Admiral. You never said what happens if we fail. The Federation falls, Zinfar replied simply. And after us, perhaps the entire galaxy. The weight of his words settled over them. Rais exchanged glances with her fellow humans, a silent understanding passing between them. We won't fail, she said firmly. Deathworlders don't know how. 4 hours later, the Phantom departed Battle Station Horizon, accelerating toward the approaching darkness. From the pilot's seat, Rides watched the void grow larger in the viewscreen, feeling the weight of not just humanity's future, but the galaxy's resting on their shoulders. Behind her, Wei and Novik made final preparations, their movements precise and focused. They were hunters now, and the Scourge was their prey. The darkness loomed ahead, hungry and vast. But within it, something waited, something that had never encountered humans before. Something that was about to learn why the Federation had feared the Deathworlders enough to lock them away. Ready jump drives, Rise ordered, her hand steady on the controls. We're going in. The hunt begins. The Phantom trembled as it breached the outer boundary of the Scourge. Alarms wailed across the bridge as shield readings plummeted. Outside the viewports, absolute darkness pressed against the hull, occasionally broken by flashes of unnatural lightning. shields at 60% and falling. Wei reported from the tactical station, his scared face bathed in the red glow of warning lights. Whatever this stuff is, it's eating through our defenses. Reyes's hands flew across the navigation controls, making constant adjustments. Novak, we need more power to the shields. In the engine room, Dr. Novak worked feverishly, rerouting power from non-essential systems. Diverting power now. I'm also activating the experimental field generator. It should buy us some time. A new energy field flickered to life around the ship, creating a secondary barrier between the Phantom and the consuming darkness. The alarm tones shifted to a less urgent frequency. Shield decay has slowed, Wei confirmed. We've got maybe 3 hours before total failure. Reyes activated the ship's advanced sensors, calibrated to detect the anomalous energy signatures they'd observed from outside. Beginning scan pattern alpha. Let's find those structures. For nearly an hour, the Phantom pushed deeper into the scourge, following a carefully plotted course that minimized exposure to the most intense regions of the anomaly. The darkness grew thicker, more oppressive, until it seemed to press against their minds, as well as the ship's hull. Contact, Wei suddenly announced. 2 o'clock, range 15,000 kilometers. Energy signature consistent with artificial structure. Reyes adjusted course immediately. On screen, the main view screen flickered, showing a massive structure floating within the darkness. It resembled a metallic spider, its central body surrounded by articulated limbs that seemed to pulse with an inner light. Smaller objects, ships or drones, moved around it in complex patterns. That's not Federation technology, Novak observed, joining them on the bridge. Nothing like it in our database either. It's harvesting energy, Wei said, studying his readings. The scourge isn't just destroying systems, it's feeding on them, converting matter and energy into something else. Reyes narrowed her eyes. And sending it where? Before anyone could answer, the ship lurched violently. New alarms blared as the Phantom was caught in some kind of energy beam. We've been detected, Wei shouted. Tractor beam of unknown configuration. The spider-like structure turned toward them, its limbs reconfiguring into what appeared to be weapon arrays. The smaller craft began converging on their position. Evasive maneuvers, Reyes ordered calmly. Wei, prepare countermeasures. Novak, I need a way to break that tractor beam. Already on it, Novak replied, her fingers dancing across her console. Their technology is advanced, but it works on principles similar to our own. I can create a feedback pulse through our shield harmonics. Do it. The Phantom shuddered as Novak's modifications took effect. The tractor beam wavered, then disengaged as the feedback pulse overloaded its emitters. Immediately, Reyes executed a series of tight maneuvers, putting distance between them and their attackers. Multiple hostiles incoming, Wei reported. Energy weapons charging. Time to see what this ship can really do, Reyes said, her eyes gleaming with the light of battle. Wei, weapons free. Novak, prepare the experimental drive for micro-jumps. The Phantom twisted and danced through the darkness as enemy fire streaked past. Wei returned fire with precision, his Deathworld reflexes allowing him to target the smaller craft despite their erratic movements. 2 exploded in silent flashes of light. Their hulls are composed of some kind of exotic matter, Novak noted, analyzing the scanner data. It absorbs energy, but it's vulnerable to kinetic impacts. We grinned, switching to projectile weapons. The ship's railguns spat hyper-accelerated slugs at the incoming hostiles. 3 more exploded as the projectiles tore through their hulls. But the advantage was temporary. More enemy craft poured from the spider structure, now clearly visible as a massive mothership. And the darkness of the scourge itself seemed to intensify around them, as if responding to the battle. We need to retreat, regroup, Wei advised. There are too many. Reyes studied the tactical display. No, look at the pattern of their deployment. They're protecting something. She zoomed in on one section of the mothership, where the energy readings were most intense. That's their core, their heart. If we destroy that, what happens to the Scourge? Novak wondered. Let's find out. Rice plotted a new course, direct and aggressive. Wei, concentrate all weapons on my target. Novak, prepare to execute a series of micro-jumps. We're going to punch right through their defenses. The Phantom accelerated toward the mothership, its enhanced engines pushing to maximum output. Enemy fire increased in intensity, several hits rocking the ship. Shields at 30%, Wei warned. Hold course, Rice commanded. The ship lurched as Novak activated the experimental drive. Space twisted around them as they executed a series of micro-jumps, appearing and disappearing in unpredictable patterns that confused the enemy targeting systems. With each jump, they drew closer to the mothership's core. All weapons locked on target, Wei reported. Fire everything, Rice ordered. The Phantom's weapons unleashed their full fury. Railgun slugs tore into the mothership's structure, followed by a barrage of energy weapons. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the core section began to glow with an unnatural light. We've hit something critical, Novak announced. Energy readings are spiking. The mothership's limbs began thrashing wildly, its defensive systems firing in all directions. The smaller craft scattered in disarray. They're panicking, Wei observed with satisfaction. Suddenly, a new energy signature appeared near the damaged core, a portal of some kind, swirling with colors that hurt the eyes to look at. Something's coming through, Novak warned. The portal widened, and a being emerged, humanoid in basic shape, but composed of what appeared to be living energy. Its face was a void, empty of features, but somehow radiating ancient malevolence. A voice filled their minds, resonating with ages of existence. Intruders, you damage what is not yours to touch. The being's attention focused on them, a pressure building in their skulls. Your species is unknown to us. Curious, all civilized races in this galaxy were cataloged cycles ago. We're not what you'd call civilized, Rice replied, activating the ship's communications. We're from Earth, the Deathworld. There was a pause, as if the entity was processing this information. Ah, the quarantined world, the Federation's secret shame. How interesting that they would release you. Who are you? Novak demanded. Why are you destroying the galaxy? We are the precursors. We do not destroy. We harvest, as we have done for eons across countless galaxies. When civilizations reach their peak, we collect their energy to fuel our ascension. Their peak. We scoffed. You're killing trillions. A necessary cost. The death of the few ensures the transcendence of the worthy. Rice leaned forward. And who decides who's worthy? We do, as is our right as the first race. While the entity spoke, Novak was frantically analyzing its energy signature, whispering to Rice. It's vulnerable during communication. Its energy is diverted from the Scourge's maintenance. Rice nodded slightly. Keep it talking, she murmured to Wei. Wei stepped forward. If you're so advanced, why do you need to steal energy? Couldn't you create your own? The entity's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. Creation requires effort. Harvesting is efficient. Your primitive minds cannot comprehend the scales of power we require. Try us, Novak challenged. We Deathworlders are full of surprises. While the entity focused on them, Rice was secretly adjusting the Phantom's course, bringing them closer to the portal from which the precursor had emerged. Your defiance is pointless. You cannot harm us. You cannot stop the harvest. Maybe not, Rice acknowledged, but we can certainly complicate it. She nodded to Novak, who activated a sequence she had prepared. The Phantom's experimental drive spun up to maximum power, but instead of creating a micro-jump, it directed all that energy into the ship's forward shields. Now, Rice shouted. The Phantom lunged forward, ramming directly into the precursor entity. The shield, now configured to the exact frequency of the entity's energy signature, acted like a containment field. The precursor screamed in their minds as it was forced back through its own portal. Weapons on that portal generator, Rice commanded. Wei fired everything they had left at the machinery surrounding the portal. It exploded spectacularly, the blast rippling through the mothership's damaged core. The portal began to collapse, dragging the trapped precursor with it. As it vanished, the entity's voice filled their minds one last time. "This changes nothing. We are many. We will return. And we'll be waiting," Rice promised. With the portal destroyed and the mothership's core critically damaged, the scourge began to change. The oppressive darkness lightened, energy signatures fluctuating wildly across the spectrum. "It's destabilizing," Novak reported. "Without the control mechanism, it can't maintain cohesion." "Let's not stick around to watch," Rice decided, plotting an escape course. "Novak, give us everything you can from the engines." The Phantom accelerated away from the collapsing mothership, pushing through the thinning darkness of the scourge. Behind them, energy explosions rippled through the anomaly as the harvesting machinery failed. They barely cleared the outer boundary before the scourge imploded, collapsing in on itself in a spectacular display of light and energy. Where once there had been consuming darkness, now there was only the normal void of space, stars twinkling in the distance. "We did it," Wei said quietly, disbelief in his voice. "For now," Rice cautioned. "You heard the precursor. There are more of them out there." Novak was already analyzing the data they'd collected. "Yes, but now we know how to fight them. And we have proof that the Federation needs us, needs Deathworlders, if they're going to survive what's coming." The reception aboard Battle Station Horizon was unlike anything the humans had expected. Where once there had been fear and suspicion, now there was celebration and awe. Federation officers who had previously kept their distance now approached them with expressions of gratitude and respect. Admiral Zinfar stood before them on the command deck, his skin pulsing with colors that Rice recognized as profound emotion. "On behalf of the Galactic Federation, I extend our deepest gratitude," he said formally. "You have saved trillions of lives and preserved civilization itself." "Just doing what Deathworlders do best," Wei replied with a small smile. "Surviving against the odds." "And our agreement?" Rice asked, direct as always.